Crow has had quite the journey over the last couple of years, rising as a guardian, being freed from the spider's grasp, learning his dark corrupted past as Uldren Sov and how he killed Cayde 6. We now have Crow, who is different, but the events Uldren took part in have changed this universe over time. Uldren Sov made a wish to Riven. Scorn were created, Cayde Killed because of it. From a new ship released this season, we learn about another wish Crow has just made that may have been granted once more by an Ahamkara. Uldren Sov would begin to spiral into madness after the events of the Taken King, crash landing on Mars and separating from his sister, although he could still feel her pull, her existence somewhere in the echoes of space. Uldren would try and band together some Elixni, take the tactics he knew worked from the reef and use them to his advantage. During this time, he was sort of going on a crazy rampage, crimes against his own people of the reef, and was driven mad by the loss of his queen and what they had built. At one point on this journey, he felt a connection to Mara he believed, and right after that found a wounded Fikrul, and made his first wish, a wish that Riven the Ahamkara would hear and grant. And there it is, a fallen Archon crumpled in the dust. Ether hisses through the entry and exit wounds cauterized by brutal solar flames, the mark of a golden gun. Uldren hisses in disgust as he traces the Guardian's footprints in the dust. They must have sprinted off together in a rush, no doubt to farm some other site where skiffs were coming down with mining parties. He triages the Archon's wounds, mortal. The victim is shaking now, trembling under Uldren's hands. He wants so badly to do something, anything to ease the poor soldier's passing, to have the power some say his sister had, to save just by proximity. Does he wish it? Does he wish to save this poor thing? He does. He does. His eyes burn with sympathetic tears as he works to bind the Archon's wounds. His hands are quick and gentle, and he weeps with the strength of the hatred for the Guardians that did this. As tears stain the Archon's wounds, the ether roiling through Uldren's fingers slowly grows heavier, darker, more noxious. He does not notice. Finally, he leans back to smear his knuckles across his eyes, sore. They're always so sore. Under the unmarked helmet, 4 dead eyes open in wonder. The Archon croaks a word, a broken leftover of a dying hallucination, calling out to whoever he wanted to see welcoming him into the afterlife. Dad? So Riven heard this wish from Uldren and granted it. Fikrul was brought back to life and was now this immortal Scorn, the first of their kind. Uldren corrupted by darkness and a new undead army of fallen, the Scorn, unleashed. We know how the rest goes. Fikrul and Uldren would become super close, Uldren acting as a father figure to the scorned Baron. They would get thrown in the Prison of Elders with the other Barons and would remain there until Varix opened the gates in Forsaken.
He didn't feel a thing.
Uldren's rampage continued across the reef as he believed he was being led this whole time by his sister. In the cutscenes, he believes she is there with him, leading him to the dreaming city to free her, when in fact this whole time it was Riven. Riven used Uldren and his wish to her own advantage, caused all of this trouble. The Barons rampaging through the Tangled Shore, the Scorn army, and the death of Cayde 6, Riven was essentially behind it all.
No. But I do have a bullet with your name on it.
Any second now, my partner is gonna roll in here and kill every last one of you. And you, my man.
This is going to hurt. A lot. Mara.
Uldren. You brave, devoted, pathetic fool. Thank you.
Since then, a lot has happened of course. Uldren died and was brought back as a guardian called Crow. Crow learned of his past as Uldren from Savathûn and was terrified at the person he used to be. He didn't want to become that monster again. In the Unforeseen Consequences card from this season, A New Ship, Crow and Mara speak to one another about mistakes they've made towards each other and vow to create a better future. He remembers his sister's throne differently, an amalgam of Elixni Flotsam built from the spoils of war, its great weight suspended from the rafters. A throne Uldren set ablaze in the wake of losing her, his first step down a forsaken path. Crow lays his hand on the throne before him. It is empty and ponderous, silhouetted by distant nebulae and cosmic dust. It feels smooth, too smooth. "It was here that I first heard the news of your death," calls a familiar voice behind him. He turns to see his sister striding down the hall. Mara takes her place beside him and gazes out into the far reaches of space. "Did you mourn for me?" Crow asks. "I did," his sister replies. She is silent for a moment. "And I regret what I did to you. The manipulation, the subtle coercion. None of it went the way I intended." Crow follows her gaze out into the endless void. "I know what that's like." "Remorse and recriminations," Mara says absently. She turns her eyes toward him. "If you could go back, after the course of your history, what would you change?" He can't help but laugh. Where to begin? Crow muses with a smirk. It fades soon enough. "Cayde," he whispers. Mara raises an eyebrow. "Oh. Before then, I could have taken a different road, but once I pulled that trigger," he shakes his head. "Everything else I can set right, but not that. I just wish I could tell him I shouldn't have done it." "I see," Mara murmurs, her eyes shine in the starlight. Crow sighs and rolls his shoulders back. "I should get going. Vanguard's waiting on my report." "We all have obligations, I suppose." "Don't I know it?" Crow nods as he heads down the hall. He pauses at the portal to the dreaming city and glances back at Mara. Ringed by the distant nebulae, she shimmers like a mirage in desert sands, and then Crow is gone. "See you soon." Mara's voice echoes across the empty chamber as the illusion fades. "Oh, brother mine." So, Crow and Mara speak and had this heartfelt moment, kinda like this week's seasonal interaction, right? Talking about their past, how Mara manipulated Uldren, which was true, and how they want to keep this bond close together in the future. Welp, Riven impersonated Mara in Forsaken, and she may have done it again here. If that's the case, Crow just made another wish, and it might just be twisted once more. Crow wishes that he could undo Cayde's death, wish that he never did it, or that he shouldn't have done it. He wants to tell Cayde that himself. As Crow departs, Mara says, "See you soon, oh brother mine." Now, I think Mara has spoke words like an Ahamkara before, but it just seems too risky and blatant at this point, implying almost that it's Riven outright with the wording of that text and also the line before describing an illusion. Riven can shapeshift, of course. She looked like Mara in Forsaken, sounded like Shaxx last week in the Terminal, and may have taken his sister's appearance again. The implications of this are interesting though. We are unaware if this is just a lore tab to stir some more drama, or if something will actually happen because of it. We know Cayde is alive in the Pale Heart realm, so maybe Crow will get his wish. Cayde being alive in this new sort of way, or maybe this afterlife location, or at least maybe he'll be able to speak to Cayde from this realm and apologize that he never should have done it in the first place. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Some lore and backstory behind the wishes of Uldren and Crow. If you'd like to see some more Destiny, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.